Hi, this is Terri and welcome back to my channel. 1 year ago, about this time, I started Zepbound. And the reason why I went on Zepbound is I wanted to lose some weight to either avoid or delay a partial knee replacement. Spoiler alert, back in December, I had a partial knee replacement. I'm 6 months post-recovery and I'm actually doing great. But last summer, I made being on Zepbound my whole personality. I was terrified of constipation and losing bone density and losing muscle mass and all of the things that made me super afraid to go on Zepbound initially. So last summer, I focused on exercising every day, getting a ton of protein, a ton of fiber, and staying totally hydrated. I managed to lose 18 pounds between July, August, and the beginning of September, at which point I went traveling for 7 weeks. While I was traveling, I ate and drank what I wanted. I walked a ton, did a ton of flights of stairs, and I did not end up gaining or losing a single ounce while I was on my trip. When I got back, I was totally focused on getting ready for my surgery because I was really terrified. So I continued my prehab until my surgery date of December 15th. So I was not focused on staying hydrated, focused on my protein or my fiber. So I actually didn't lose an ounce. I also didn't gain an ounce until they put a bunch of metal in my knee and I gained 2 pounds from the titanium. Since my weight loss had pretty much stalled out in the fall, my doctor and I agreed to bump me up from 2.5 milligrams to 5 milligrams at the end of December. And I was on that dosage until this week, at which point I bumped up to 7.5 milligrams because between December and last week, I'd lost a whopping 2 pounds. Granted, I did go traveling again for 7 weeks, and I was recovering from major surgery, but I thought for sure that I should have continued losing once my body had stabilized. But I was wrong. So we are upping it, and over the summer, I am going to do a better job of eating enough, staying hydrated, eating fiber, and eating enough protein, because I think that may be contributing to why I'm not losing any weight, or my body just got super used to the dosage that I was on. My first 7.5 milligram dose was this past week, and I've already lost 2 pounds, and I have not changed my eating or my hydration, and in fact, I've been exercising less because I have been working so much. The good news in all of this is I am pretty confident that once I meet whatever weight goal that I establish, that I can go on a maintenance dosage and I can maintain the weight. I just have to get to a number that's not 182 because my body loves being 182 pounds. I'd really like it to be closer to 165, 170 pounds. But it's less about the weight goal and it's more about how I feel from an energy perspective and also how strong I feel, how flexible I feel, and just how mobile I feel. At this point in my life, I am resisting the temptation to conform to patriarchal expectations of what a woman's body should look like. I am not a 12-year-old girl, and I think it's really disgusting that society expects that we maintain that size and that body as we age. So as I said, the goal is really around my general health and less about how I look, which is really hard to focus on because my husband and I do videos for Zeke and Terri Adventures, and I see myself on camera constantly, full body movement, all sorts of different angles, and I can't set the camera or the lighting in order to make it so that I look in what I think is an acceptable way. So I'm resisting that. While I was traveling last fall, I did get a mini blender so I could do my protein shakes and feel like I was getting a decent amount of protein and fiber every single day to avoid any sort of constipation and also just to be healthy. And then in the spring, we got an immersion blender and I was making modified smoothies. So it was really protein powder, collagen powder, Greek yogurt, milk, and frozen cherries, berries, or other assorted fruits. And that was a really great way for me to start my day. While I generally don't have nausea while I'm on the Zepbound, I really am not big on eating first thing in the morning, but I know that eating in the morning is really important, especially if I want to try to get as much protein in during the day. And so having that immersion blender was really helpful so that I at least ate something in the morning. Sometimes I did just have a croissant and a cappuccino, and I gave myself grace and said, that's totally fine. Because at the end of the day, at 56 years old, I am looking to be as healthy as possible, but I'm also trying to enjoy my life as much as possible. And that includes having some wine or champagne or a beer or a cocktail every now and then. It means eating out at nice restaurants or having a burger and fries. I'd say it's all about the balance, but we know that balance is, an impossible goal to try to achieve. Well, maybe over a short term. Over a longer term, it's probably possible. But I'm not counting calories. I'm not counting macros. I am not making weight loss my whole personality anymore. And that's actually making it really challenging to get to the gym because I don't have a specific target anymore to work towards. Over the summer, I was trying to lose as much as I could, stay as strong and healthy as possible, and prehab for my surgery. And then post-surgery, I was trying to recover as well as possible and get strong again. And now I'm back on the tennis court, I'm back on the pickleball court. While we were on our spring trip in Europe, I walked over 10,000 steps a day, over 10 flights of stairs a day. I was able to do everything that I wanted to do. And now for me, the hard part is knowing that my whole workout, my eating, and all of that is really for long-term health, and it's not for a specific goal. And that's a really hard thing for someone like me who is really target and goal obsessive. I am still seeing my physical therapist as part of my knee surgery recovery, and we are focusing on my entire body in order to make it so that I am preventing any future injuries or delaying them as long as possible. The other thing that I did last September that I wish that I'd done in June is I went and did a Dexascan just to see what my body composition was. And then I did it in December, right before my knee surgery. I have yet to do it again post-knee surgery. I was trying to get to a certain point post-recovery and with my weight loss and also be eating healthier. Now I plan to go back to the Dexascan place at the end of the summer because it will be 1 year since my first one and 9 months since my surgery. And I'm really curious to see what my body composition looks like. The good news is that my bone density is fantastic, and I attribute that to all of the sports that I've played, especially tennis. I look back on where I was a year ago when I was so terrified about making the decision to go on Zepbound, and as usual, I was more neurotic and anxious about something that I really didn't need to be. It has turned out to be something that's been really great for me. I do appreciate being down 20 pounds. That's just easier on all of my joints. I also appreciate the additional motivator to eat protein, eat fiber, go to the gym, work out in whatever capacity I choose to, and then also to stay hydrated. I have a really hard time just drinking water. I do have electrolytes that I drink once or twice a day. Trying to get enough water is difficult at home. When we were on the road, it was like 10 times as difficult. Fortunately, it didn't really cause any problems for me. I still believe that for those of us in the menopause transition or post-menopause who have put on weight and are not comfortable with it, that Zepbound or other GLP-1s are a really good tool in the toolbox for our weight loss and health journeys. Obviously, it's not going to be for everybody. I am not a health practitioner, so don't take my word as health advice. I'm just saying that based on the research that I've done, my own experience, and that of other people that I know, that it is a really, it's a very useful tool. It's not the only tool, but it is a useful tool. For the rest of the summer, I will be focusing on hydrating, protein, fiber, exercise, and trying to improve my sleep. Because I wonder if one of the reasons why I struggled with my weight loss was because I am a shitty sleeper. I always have been, but it's been really, really bad the last 10 or 15 years. At the end of the summer, I will see my doctor. We will do a 14-month review of my progress and how I'm doing, and then assess what we're going to do moving forward. Fingers crossed that maybe I can lose 10 pounds over the summer, and then I can just go into maintenance mode, which would be really, really nice. And that's it for my 1 year Zepbound update. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in comments. You might not be the only one who has that question. I'd be more than happy to answer it. Or you can send me an email at pilotingyourlife@gmail.com. The name of my book, Piloting Your Life. I am more than happy to share what I've learned and what my experience has been. Is this where I thought I would be a year later? Nope. I was very happy with the first 20 coming off and a little disappointed that nothing else has come off since, but that's okay. And I will continue to experiment with this until I get to a point where I'm comfortable with my weight and my overall health. Once again, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to help. And as usual, let go of perfection, take some risks, and above all else, have some fun.